first and foremost, anyway, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it's a little bit of a crazy week. Last week was nuts too, but I wasn't feeling great. I was a little lethargic, being all anemic and stuff. So,
Word.
but doing better now. Reamped on the iron pills, you know how it goes. So, but yeah, no, I'm overall doing well. Just like knocking out a few things before I start my weekend, which is going to be nuts. How are you doing?
I'm alive.
Great. That's
so
something.
so that's the thing. I'm grateful for that,
Right?
but that's how I'm dealing right now. But
I hear you. Some days,
so
weeks, months are like that. Just like I'm alive. That's fun.
yeah, so like you're a younger lady and everything. I'm a old man compared to the younger people and whatnot. But like today and yesterday, I had to go get acupuncture done,
Oh, hey,
and
that's awesome.
then I just came from a chiropractor and shit.
Where did you
So
go? That's
so
great.
so that's like I don't never felt that experience in my life. And then like you think of acupuncture, you see the shit on TV, motherfucker got needles and shit, and they're gonna stab you,
Death
make you look
match.
like yeah, make you look like a pin cushion and shit, whatever. But like I went in there, laid on the table, didn't feel a goddamn thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think typically you're not supposed to feel a whole lot when it comes to that. It's more like stimulation when they do the puncture.
And if
Um,
you do feel something, I mean, something probably wrong.
yeah, I probably hit a nerve or something.
Yeah, yeah, but like the first, because I got this nice shiny dome or whatever. First needle he did, bow, right on top of the head. I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah,
Because
I'm not.
like,
What
yeah,
were you
because like I didn't feel it or whatever, but it's just like the fact that he hit me right there. Because you don't feel the needle going in. The
right,
only thing that you recognize is the tap of the needle, like whenever you tap it in or whatever.
right.
But it's fucking weird.
Well, did you enjoy it though overall? I mean,
Yeah, I took a nice little nap.
yeah. Hold on.
Just laid out on the table full of needles and shit. And then they hook a car battery up to that joint and they shock you and shit.
Right.
So you had to put a level on that. There's like, all right, I'm gonna start cranking it up and you tell me when to stop. So my damn muscles in my neck is like, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this cool.
Mhm.
Now I do see what you were saying though. I am starting to hear myself a little bit.
Yeah, I can put headphones. I have like big
Uh,
headphones I can put on.
you got the ones with the cat ears?
No, I do not. They are gaming headphones, so
Word.
see. Okay. I mean, they might as well have cat ears. This is a sight to see. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, yeah, you sound great.
Okay,
So
perfect.
I seen a little snippet of an interview that you did not too long ago or whatever, and it
Mhm.
was talking about just how you almost trained in secret for
Yes.
professional wrestling before you let anybody know that you was actually doing that shit. And it was
Mhm.
more like if I'm a fail on my own rather than be like, all right, this is what I'm doing, and then I just kind of you know.
Right.
So that was pretty much like the whole philosophy behind this thing. It's like, all right, because what if I do this shit and I don't like it, and then I told everybody I'm gonna do it. So
Yeah, so basically like for me, I I really respect wrestling
oh
and the
yeah,
way that I approach it. Um you get a lot of talk in wrestling and in life, and people will say they're going to do all these things, right? And the way that I wanted to approach it was that I didn't wanna tell people what I was gonna do. I was gonna show them what I've done and what I
mm,
can do.
word.
Like, the proof is in the pudding kind of a thing, you know? Like, I didn't wanna sit there and talk all day about like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna" 'cause you know what? So many people say that, and there are a lot of people trying to break into the, independent scene who aren't very well trained, who don't have a lot of experience, and they backyard wrestle, or God forbid they get on a promotion or something like that. And I have a lot of friends that are indie wrestlers, that are professionals that make their living off of it. And it is such a difficult field to be in, just being able to be skilled at it, that I didn't wanna go out there and say, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do this, 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 and this," and then if I fail, like, not only am I gonna be crushed inside, but, like, I don't wanna disappoint people, and I don't wanna be another one of those people that think they can do it because, "Oh my god, look at how hard could it be?" Like, it's not easy, it's incredibly difficult, and
Yes.
out of respect for that, instead of talking about what I wanted to do and what I was going to do, I just wanted to show it, and so that's what I did. That's why my first promo essentially had 0 talking from me except for at the end when Mr. Valiant, Jimmy Valiant, comes in and asks if I'm ready to start, um, my match and training. Uh, Other than that, I don't talk because I didn't wanna talk. I didn't wanna explain. If I had done my job, if I had done what I had set out to do properly, then I wouldn't need to say anything. I could just show it. And that's why the promo video was the way that it was. My first one was just me in the ring with my head trainer, and that basically explained everything to those that I was trying to tell.
Word, word.
Yeah.
So I mean, first of all, I applaud you and everything because you're doing something that I have only dreamed of as like a young child and shit. So whatever. So mad respect for that, for you putting your body on the line essentially for our entertainment and shit. So
Thank you.
props to you. And I feel like the respect thing that you were talking about or whatever, because it's just been like I've worked with a whole bunch of indie promotions and shit, and I can remember the first time that I actually put a ring together,
Mhm.
and I was just like nervous and shook as fuck because like I'm gonna put this thing together and people are gonna perform in it later,
Yeah.
and it was just like that whole aspect of it is just like even when we got the corner post up and everything, we start to put the apron around and whatnot. Once we got the boards and the mat on there, I did not step on the apron whatsoever. I did everything from the outside or whatever because like I felt
Right.
like I wasn't worthy enough to like step foot inside of a ring and shit. And it was
Right.
just like, ooh, just butterflies and shit. Just this thing that I saw as a little bitty kid, just like right here in front of me and shit.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
there's a
yeah.
lot of reverence, when you respect the art form in that way. It's awe-inspiring. Even the most basic things, like you said, setting up a ring. When you get in there and you realize the mechanics of what it takes to set up a ring, when we as fans just watch a show, it's already done, boom,
That's
bam,
already
like,
there.
ready to go, right? But, like, when you sit there and take the time to set it up, you realize not only how complicated it is, but, like, what
Could go
we
wrong.
what could go wrong? Right. One hook the wrong way, one bungee cord, one board misplaced, like, one loose rope,
Hell yeah.
there's so many things that can make it even more dangerous than it already is, and it's not like it's not danger free if even if it's 100% set up because, those plywood boards, like, those
Shit.
that go under there's not a whole lot that goes between a body and that, you know?
Hell nah.
So, yeah.
And then that was like even just the board aspect of it, just like, all right, so it bowls this way. So now I gotta flip it that side and
Mhm.
just all right, you can't put them all right there. You gotta move some over fucking piecing together the mat and shit. Just
Yep.
crazy
So
shit.
it's a lot of mechanics. Wrestling is so intricate, and I think that's something that's not really realized. It's like, "Oh, I'm watching this person, they're dressed up, they do a flip, they do this, they that." So easy, and it's like, there's so much micro mechanics into every single thing that we do, from the ring to the person to the referee, the announcer, like, everyone, everything.
Mhm. So I need you to tell me the shock or just how'd your nervous system feel the very first time you took a bump on that mat? Because I know for me, that shit was like, what the fuck just happened?
Right. Um, I well, having been around wrestling previously, I don't know that I was so shocked as far as the impact and things like that. I think more so I was already in my head, like, "Okay, it's game time." Like, what did they say? How do I do what with my hands? How do I
Mhm,
flip my wrists? Like, how am I split So,
mhm.
obviously, no one's taken a great first bump. It's never
No.
happened. Like, it's just not gonna happen. But I was already so in my head about everything that I was supposed to do that it didn't even register of, like, the shock of, like, "Ah," like, "Whoa, what was that?" I was immediately like, "Alright, I messed that up, I need to do it again, like, let's go from there."
Yeah,
Like, I was already ready to go, I wanted to get it down, so, um, yeah, I think a lot about the intricacies of wrestling, so even in my first I mean, I loved it, I was so excited, but that's why I was like, "Alright, now I gotta do it again and do it better," because I was like, "It's game time, like, let's do this."
yeah.
Um, yeah.
I can remember messing myself up because like I took that first bump, I went down, and I was like, "Oh shit, I did it." And
Mhm.
I was like, "But that didn't feel good, so I must have did it wrong."
Right. Oh,
And then
yeah.
yeah, and then I made the also made the mistake of, drinking a pre-workout before I went to do wrestling training, so
Ooh.
that was no good.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely had a bruise, like a pretty good bruise on my lower back after my first, like, day of taking bumps and stuff, just taking them wrong, like,
Mhm.
my lower back was bruised. I think the first time I really had a shock of, like, "Ouch!" Like, "Holy crap," from a move, like, from a spot, was the first time that I took a scoop slam wrong.
Oh, I hate them shits.
Ah. Because
Oh.
you know that, like, when you're inverted, you're posting, you're about to go, like, if you don't exhale, if you hold your breath, which most new students do because they're like, "I'm upside down, I'm about to get slammed into the ground," like, if you don't go, "Ah!" or just something, and you slam with that, like, chest cavity full of air on that mat,
Oh,
like, you will
man.
knock the wind out of you, and I sure did too. I knocked the wind out of myself, I was like, "Oh," and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I just can't talk right now.
I
I have the ability to talk is gone, so, yeah, the first time I really knocked the wind out of myself good on a slam, that's when I was like, "Oh god, ouch."
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about for me personally, it's like, powerbomb me, suplex me, back body drop me, do whatever you want, but
Right,
don't scoop slam me because, like, for whatever reason, I hated that so damn much, and then they found it out that I hated it, so they did, freaking intervals on me, so they took the short guy, the next taller guy, then the tall guy,
right.
and damn, they all stood in the corner. I came out of the corner opposite, scoop slam, boom. I had to get back up. Then the next one came, scoop slam, boom. I had
4
to get back
corners
up.
of pain.
Oh, I hated that shit so damn much.
Yeah, I think the difference between the ones that I have gotten the most rocked by as far as, like, slams, throw, things like that, done incorrectly is the scoop slam and then the fall away slam, which is basically
Mhm.
like, "Yeet, there you
Yeah.
go." And I
Toss
think
this
the
pillow.
Yeah, exactly, and the pillow's me across the ring. I think the reason for that though, when you look at the mechanics of it, because like, if you take a good old suplex, you're in
Mhm,
control, you're basically in the same position. Same thing with, like, even a power bomb, I mean, you're inverted, but by the time you're up here, like, you're boop, ready to go, right? Simple back
mhm.
bump you know.
Yeah.
But with a scoop slam, you're running up, you're getting inverted, so you're upside down, and really your form is all based on you, and you're
Mhm,
not in a position where you can, like, navigate it the way that you would normally. Like, when you're upright, you can adjust your position pretty easily, but when you're upside down, the posting and everything, that's all on you. So and when you're taking the bump, you can't really see yourself as you're going back, so it's a lot easier to land wrong in a scoop
mhm.
slam. And a fall away slam, you just have to have your timing down for that back bump because 'cause you're just barrel rolling until
You
you
just
hit
like,
the
"Ah!"
mat. So it's just you really gotta get that down, but yeah, I think those are the ones that, have the more potential for landing wrong because there's so many
Mhm.
variables to them versus like a suplex or powerbomb.
Oh my god. I mean, we could sit here and geek out about this shit all day,
I
but
know, I
we
could.
gotta move it around. I mean, so like professional wrestling is like what you're doing right now, but like you have, more to you than that or whatnot. So like looking at posts and all kinds of things. You playing music, you doing concerts and shit. What's going on here?
Yeah, I used to be an electronic musician for many years before I started, doing pro wrestling, so I did a
So you
lot.
talking about like the
Not quite. Kind of, but, like, a little more in, like, the goth scene, so, like,
Oh
goth
yeah, yeah, yeah.
electronic, like, darker stuff.
Mhm.
More towards, like, Depeche Mode versus, like, Modest Mouse. Yeah, so I did that for many years, and it was cool, like, I got to play all over the country and played in, Canada a little bit, and, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of parallels between because
I
they're
was just
both
about to
performance.
ask.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels between pro wrestling and music because, they're both performances like,
Mhm.
performance arts, a lot of traveling, a lot of
Oh yeah.
grinding, like, all that merch and fans and everything, so, I'd say they're like cousins almost. I think, obviously, pro wrestling is way more physically demanding, and there's a lot
Mhm.
more risk and danger to it,
Well, I
but
don't
I
know.
think
I done seen some of them concerts where they freaking jumping off stages and the mosh pits and all. I mean, it can get a little rowdy.
it definitely does. I mean, I've definitely thrown some blows in a mosh pit, I'm not gonna lie, but, I think with wrestling, it's like almost like being in a mosh pit every single night. So, yeah, it's a little bit more risky.
Word, word. So like I don't know, with those parallels and everything, so whenever it comes to down to doing, like, promo packages and other things or, just, game plan and things like that, I mean, do you feel a little more comfortable because of your musical background and performing on stages and things like that?
I think it definitely has an advantage, the
Because I mean,
history
you're
that
well
it
spoken from me just listening to you this thus far.
Thank you. Yeah, no, um, I definitely think I have an advantage in certain ways. There are some similarities. However, like wrestling is its own language, its own culture.
Mhm,
So even though there are things that are similar, um, you definitely have to I mean, there's nothing to replace just training and getting, the hands-on experience
mhm.
of wrestling through shows and just doing it. I would say it's like learning how to drive in the US and you know how to drive, but then you go to, like,
Oh,
London
yeah.
and you have to drive that car. So it's kinda like that. It's a whole different bag. You gotta get used to, like, how to drive on the left side of the road and, all the local laws and everything like that, so
If you really wanna blow your mind, you go to another country where they drive on the other side of the road, and you get a car that's automatic. You wanna blow
Right.
your goddamn because uh, uh,
Yes,
just bl
exactly.
oh, man, it just blows your goddamn mind. Then I
Yeah,
already
so
can't drive stick that well either, so
well, if you can drive one, you've got one up on me because I'm all automatic, but, yeah, I'd say, music is like driving in New York, and r pro wrestling is like
scary.
driving in India, which is even worse.
Oh, man. I went to New York for my very first time for the WrestleMania that they had in MetLife Stadium,
Mhm,
and I took a Uber into the heart of New York,
mhm,
and it was nerve-wracking on so many goddamn levels because one, it's a Uber. I mean, you don't know who the hell gon', roll up.
right.
So dude picked me up. He's like, "Hey, I need to make a stop first." And I'm like, "What the fuck you mean? You taking me somewhere and you gotta make stops?" I mean,
I
but
love
he had
it.
to get gas and shit. So I mean, all right,
Right,
understandable. All right. I can't be stalled out on side of the road with you, somebody I don't know.
right.
So get the gas. Then we go into the heart of the city on these narrow ass roads. That's already nerve wracking. Then they have the nerve to have cars parked on either side of this narrow ass road. And then
Mhm.
this dude is just like Dominic Toretto in his way through the streets and shit. And
Yep,
I'm just like in the back seat, like, ah.
yep. Yeah, so
Scary shit.
that's what music's like, and then pro wrestling's like driving in India, whereas in New York, they have traffic lanes that aren't used very much, and in India, there are no traffic lanes. You just go for it and hope for the best. That's what pro
Yep.
wrestling's like to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, by how long have you been doing the pro wrestles?
I started training almost a year ago. It'll be on
Word.
February 6th that I, started my first training. I did go to a session a few weeks before that with the school, previously, but, it didn't work out with that school simply because
Mhm.
they just didn't wanna train women, so I ended up at Boogie's, BWC, and that was on February 6th, so almost a year.
That sounds like a pleasant place. Boogies. I'm gonna get
Boogie's, yeah,
down.
the Boogie Woogie Man.
Yeah, so it's just like, so far, I mean, you're only a year or so in and
Mhm.
everything. Do you feel like what do you feel like is your area of improvement thus far or whatever, or something that you felt like when you first started you weren't very good at, but you feel like you pretty much got a grasp on it now?
Um Man, there are so many things because 'cause I'm just always working on stuff. I'd say working with heights, I've definitely got a lot better at. I was definitely more timid of heights before I started, but that's something that I chose to
Mhm.
want to push through. So I'm always working on that. I'd say, just thinking on my feet, um, you have to think about a lot of factors when you're in the ring, in milliseconds. Like, you
Yeah.
have to think about the psychology of the match, where it's been, like, starting off, where it's going, like, what the end result is that you want to see as far as, like, the progression of the intensity and stuff without, like, exhausting yourself. Um, Also what you can do on the fly, what you're set up for right now, what that sets you up for the next thing that you wanna do. I mean, it's all of these things
Mhm.
simultaneously and also engaging the crowd, being aware of your environment, and for me, I have,
So much shit.
yeah, it is, and I have, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So, in the beginning, like, typically, like, with my brain, like, when it gets all these things firing at once and hits that overwhelm part, it shuts down. Like,
Mhm.
completely, like, it's like a hard reboot on an old computer where you just, like, accidentally hit your foot on the power button and, "Oh, shit, everything's gone," right? And so that would happen to me a lot in the beginning where I'd be in there and I'd be thinking, "Okay, da, 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 da," and then it just go, "Woo," and I'd be like, "What was I doing?" And I'm in the middle of the ring, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What was I doing?" Like, I completely forgot everything. Um,
Mhm.
but that just comes with experience, and just, going through things just over and over and over, repeating it until it
Yeah.
becomes muscle memory, and then that doesn't happen as much. So that was something that really bothered me in the beginning because I was so frustrated because, like, I know what I'm supposed to do. Like,
Mhm.
like, I've been told, like, I've seen it, like, it's right there, it's in there, but I couldn't get it out. I'd say, like, my brain would lock up, like, I couldn't get it at that moment, right? But
Mhm.
that's gotten a lot better over the last year, and things have become a lot smoother, which is really cool, because, like, I'm not one of those people that, like, takes intellectual differences and things like that and likes to be like, "Oh, well, I can't do it because blah, blah, blah." Like, I might have to do it a different way than
Yeah.
the way that some other people are gonna do it, but, like, that's not gonna stop me. So, the fact that I was able to find my own method to the madness to be able to, like, function as well as everyone else, like, I was really happy with that because it can be frustrating sometimes when your brain doesn't do what you want it to
Mhm.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know the feeling. Like, so, within the time span that you've been, wrestling and training and everything, do
Mhm.
you feel more comfortable sitting down with whoever you're gonna be working with, and kinda discuss some things beforehand or just kinda filling it out as you go?
Oh, yeah, no, I absolutely love to discuss things, especially if it's someone that I'm not familiar with, as I've been wrestling, in different states for different promotions that I haven't worked with previously. Um, there are people that I might not be familiar with on the indie scene. There's a lot of wrestlers in the indie scene,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? I can't keep
Oh,
up with
yeah.
everybody. Um, and so because of that, I do like to touch base with everyone, and just say like, "Hey, like what are you into? Like what's your style? What are your couple of your moves? Like what's your finish? Like what do you like to do?" Because wrestling is so diverse. Like, I could
Mhm.
be wrestling a straight brawler one match and then be put up against a lucha the next match. Completely different styles, right?
Yeah.
And the sizes of the people could be different too. They could be my size or they could be giant or they could be really, it does there's all types of people in wrestling. So, I definitely like to touch base and kind of talk it over a little bit and just see like where the middle ground is as far as styles go.
Mhm.
where we can kind of bridge the gap because I think it helps make things a little bit more fluid when you can find those little connecting points.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I All right. So I got a question that I wanna ask, but I just gotta prop it up in my mind. My mind is all over the place too. So, all right, being that, it is independent wrestling or whatever, I mean, you got people coming from all over the different places or whatever to converge on this one place to do the business.
Hmm.
You may not have a time to sit down and go over things or whatever because a person probably coming in hot off the plane out of the car into the arena,
Hmm.
5 minutes before go time or whatnot.
Hmm.
Do you feel like right now with everything that you've learned and the time that you've been wrestling that you can handle those situations or
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been situations in which I've had to like come into a match last minute or get set up with someone last minute. Like things like that do happen. I think most wrestlers that have some experience, especially if they're working with someone new or if they're not familiar with, they do try to take at least like a quick second. If they can, sometimes you just can't, but if they can, to get in there or to get with a person and just kind of discuss a little bit because it's not just about like making things look good too, it's a major safety risk, and if you're just hot off the plane coming in, you don't know who you're wrestling, like, you don't know what they can do and they can't, and they might try to
Mhm,
do something to you that they shouldn't be doing.
mhm,
So, I think people, like, generally speaking, they do try to take a little bit of time to touch base if they can. If not, though, yeah, you just go in and do it. And you just get in there and you talk as you go and figure it out. And I am one of those people that have no problem saying no if I don't feel comfortable with something, either doing it or, taking something based off of the person's
scoop
experience.
slams.
Oh, I'll take a scoop slam as long as you know how to do it. If it's
No,
your first
I'm
time
telling you,
getting
no, I
one,
don't want to do
I'm
it.
not getting dropped on my neck because as you'll see, even something as basic as a scoop slam, which you learn pretty early on, can
Mhm,
still get I mean, I saw a botched scoop slam in, NXT, like, a month or 2 ago, and, that was on the person taking it. They didn't post high enough, and of course, if you don't do that, there's no leverage, but,
mhm,
yeah, everything can be messed up. So if it's something where there's something at risk like your neck or something really fragile like that, I like to observe my opponents. I like to watch if I have the chance and if I don't if you can tell a person's experience based off of their body language in the ring
mhm,
and their even just the way they stand in the beginning, like their lockup and stuff. The lockup is not only a position starting out for a fight for power, but you really get a feel for your opponent for the first
mhm.
time, and you can tell a lot about a person by their lockup, just how their body feels, their body language. But yeah, if I don't feel comfortable with something, I just say, "Nah, you ain't gonna do that," because I'm like 135 pounds, so there's about this much between my bones and that mat. So if you screw it up, you ain't got a lot of padding to protect me with. I just don't have a
Word.
lot here.
So, like, you just mentioned like how you observed, you watched some things on NXT and everything. What was your relationship like with professional wrestling before you actually tried to become a professional wrestler?
Well, I originally got into wrestling with the Attitude Era, and it was more of the hardcore stuff that was pulled from ECW that got me into that. As an adult, big fan of the hardcore deathmatch scene, so that's most of what I watched. Um, but yeah, I watch a lot of the smaller promotions. I haven't watched a ton, like I don't watch a ton of the WWE and AEW. I watch it here and there, and I love, like, the Usos and Sami Zayn on I love that storyline. I love all of them individually. When they came together, I was like,
Yeah.
"Yay." But, yeah, as far as, like, that, Impact, Ring of Honor, I'll watch it here and there, but I really like watching the stuff that you'll find on, like, IWTV or even just
Mhm.
YouTube clips, some of the stuff that's on Fight and whatnot. I like watching the smaller, because by the time you get to the big
Yeah.
like, the top of the top, everything's so polished and clean that It's really structured around whatever the I don't wanna say popular thing is, but whatever the trend is at that point in wrestling, and there's not a whole lot of room for creativity unless it was a signature move that they came in with, and that
Mhm.
bothers me because I like creativity, I like seeing things from a different perspective, and I like even something as simple as the international and seeing something in it that spices it up, because you can
Yeah.
take these very basic I mean, god, I just watched a match, I think it was maybe Bret Hart and Curt Hennig, someone like that, and it was just headlocks and, like,
Yeah.
strikes, and but they were so polished as far as being comfortable in the move that they could be creative with it, whereas in WWE, they just do the move and go on to the next thing, intensity, intensity, right? Like, just, like, really fast pace, but for
Mhm.
them, they added finesse to it because they were so skilled at those moves, and it made it I mean, the crowd just pop, it'd just be another
Yeah.
headlock, and then take down to the mat, and the crowd just and I was losing my mind, you know? It's that creativity that I really value, and so I like watching older matches. I like watching things more on the independent scene and international as well. I pull a lot from Japan and lucha and stuff like that.
So you led me right into the place that I wanted to go.
Oh, great! Yay!
So creativity, individuality, and everything. I mean, just to go off some of the points that you brought up or whatever, I too, um, lifelong wrestling fan, and I did gravitate more toward the big, time shit, WWF, WCW, all the the
Mhm,
main brand stuff or whatnot. But as I've got along in my wrestling years or whatever, I've gravitated more toward the independent stuff and everything because like if they're on WWE TV or whatever, or one of the big companies, I
mhm,
mean, the, I guess the journey is over for lack of better terms or whatever. But like,
mhm.
if I'm watching them down in freaking New Texas Pro and
Right.
DPW and all these other stuff, I mean, that journey is just starting or whatever, and that's exciting to watch somebody start from the bottom and then make it over here to wherever their destination is or whatnot.
Sure.
So I mean, I've really been enjoying that in the latter years of my wrestling fandom and whatnot. But what you were saying about creativity and just nuances to just certain moves or whatever. Something I recently watched was Top Flight or any combination of Top Flight and whoever. Most recently, I think it's Darius, the one that been out the longest. Just some of the small shit that he does is just cool. Like just the way he does a go behind or whatever is different
Mhm,
from everybody else, or just the way he comes out of a headlock takeover or whatever. It's just those
mhm,
small little bitty things to a simple move
mm,
is where the creativity lies.
mhm.
But once again, wrestling is so vast, so big, so many people doing it right now that we start to see a repetition or a oversaturation of certain moves. And I was
Oh, yeah.
wondering if like some of the ones that you might have noticed, because I could tell you right off the top, goddamn, a Canadian destroyer or any variant there then of is
Right,
getting used way too goddamn much, and it's not ending the goddamn match.
right.
A seton, just fame, just throw your back
Uh-huh,
on somebody.
right.
Too much.
Mhm.
Frog splash, too much. Uh, corner cannonball, too much. RKO or cutter, whatever the hell you want to call it, too
Uh-huh.
much. Is just like I don't know. It's just is there any other moves that you think people are using too much? A goddamn sling blade. People using that shit too much.
Yeah, well, yeah, all the ones you named, obviously, things like a moonsault used all the time, um, double downs are used all the time, spears,
Yeah,
s oh
spear.
god, super kicks, super
I mean,
kicks,
that's I,
and
that's almost like throwing a punch now. So it's
but it wasn't, and see, that's
I
the
know.
thing. That's the disconnect I feel like there is in wrestling, is what I mentioned earlier, is that it's so fast-paced on these major networks now that it's
Mhm.
just like you have to outdo spot after spot after spot after spot, and it's just boom, 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 whereas a super kick, a DDT, you know, they were finishers. These were all
Ended matches.
finishing moves. these ended the matches, and now you get 5, 6, 7 super kicks in a single match because they have to go on to the next thing. It needs to be more intense, and for me personally, it's not this way for everyone.
Mhm.
And again, I love high intensity wrestling as well, like lucha. Like, I think it's brilliant. I love it. But I think as far as wrestling as a whole, there's a disconnect where we forgot chain wrestling and grappling. We
Mhm.
forgot what that was and how important it was to wrestling for the setup for these spots, that instead of studying people like, well, Bret Hart, Kurt Hennig, William Regal,
Oh, that guy.
Johnny Saint's one of my personal favorites for chain wrestling. Instead of studying these older, wrestling techniques and methods, we're
Mhm.
watching WWE and AEW where it's just like boom, 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 and you see that reflect in the indie scene where all of these once match-ending moves are being used constantly because they don't know how to grapple, they don't know how to chain, they don't know how to work the psychology.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and so that's part of the reason that I don't watch a lot of the current stuff and I go back to the old school stuff because if you can get a pop like Bret Hart can off of a headlock, you know you're doing something right. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you can do a moonsault, you can do, shooting star press, you can do all of these incredible moves. That's wonderful, and there are times to use them. But
Mhm.
if you can get the same pop from a headlock, that's mastery. That is
Mhm.
mastering wrestling. That is knowing when and where to use the moves. Everything has a place. You don't have to do the biggest, best bing bang things every single match because one, it loses the spot loses its integrity. If you're
Mhm.
doing it all the time, it's like, okay, I love cake, I love sweets, have a piece of cake, happy. If
Mhm.
I eat a piece of cake, like, 3 times a day for a week, I'll be sick of cake. I
I
gotta
don't
eat
know, I like
something
cake.
else. I gotta eat something else, but that's what it is,
Yeah.
it's exposure, and like you were saying, the oversaturation in the indies, when it's this happening all the time, nonstop, you see these moves over and over and over, suddenly a suplex is like, "Eh," where it's like a you can rock a suplex if you know how to
Mhm.
build it into your match correctly, and that's what grappling and
Mhm.
chain wrestling is there for. That's what
Yeah.
the little in between that William Regal does, the little cheap heel shots that he does, like, that's why that's so and Eddie Guerrero too, if you watch him, every little thing and
Yeah, he's
actually, as a matter
he's not just a frog splash and the shimmy shake.
exactly. As a matter of fact, there is one group that I've seen on WWE that knows that and does that, and that's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. If you watch them interact, every single little thing, like even after Kevin's knocked out and he's just barely got his little hand up on Sammy's boot, like the psychology and that seeing
Mhm.
that where it's like, my friend just killed me, but you're still my friend. I love you. Like all those little things, everything has a purpose if you know how to do it right.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say is go back to chain, go back to grappling, go back and
Yeah.
watch these old guys and learn that.
I think a lot of the most egregious of these, things, happen in, tag matches for me. It's just
Mm,
like, you do, like, this whole sequence, super kick, return, super kick,
mhm.
clothesline, lariat, then y'all both out, then somebody hit a big move, and then a fucking 2 kick out and shit. I was just like, "What?"
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't get it, but, like, in tag matches, it kinda takes me out of it to where, like, you go through this big sequence, even, like, say you get a 2-on-1 advantage. So, a team has an opponent, they do a double team move on them, and
Uh-huh.
then their partner comes in, get the other guy out of there, and it's a daggone kick out. I was like, 2 people just did a move on 1 person. Why is that person not down for a 3 count? You
Mhm.
know? And
That's
then
psychology.
yeah,
It's
like,
half
I can understand if
psychology.
yeah, I can understand if one person, one-on-one, you might have, like, a little bit of, a little get out or whatever, but if 2 people do a move on 1 person, that person shouldn't be getting up unless they get saved, which they don't
Right.
do a lot of that.
Yeah, that's psychology, it's half psychology, half selling,
Mhm.
and again, it's, I tie it back to the trend that is wrestling right now where it's so high intensity. It's like, "Okay, I just took a suplex, but now I gotta go do this, and now I gotta go do that." It's like, "Yo, you just took a suplex," and I know from personal experience, like,
That sucks.
that ain't nothing. Yeah, like, that ain't nothing. I mean, sure, you can, like yeah, you'll get up, but, like, respect the move. Like, you know you're hurting, and that's why we have so many or I feel in my personal experience, that's why we have so many wrestlers, especially on those big promotions, that are hurt so much so young. They are putting so your body only has so much mileage when you start, no matter what. Like, no matter how
Mhm.
healthy you are, like, whatever you do to it, take your supplements, that's great, like, do it for real. But you're still only gonna have so much mileage, you're only gonna be able to take so many bumps. So the fact that you're taking 5 matches worth of bumps and spots and, like, all this in 1 match, like, that's gonna add up real quick, especially if you don't have that chain in there to reset your form, especially when you're young, like, on the indies and stuff, when that's not second nature to you and you haven't mastered yet. It's another thing that chain is for. It's like, reset yourself. Reset
Mhm.
yourself for a minute. How's your ankles feel? How does your shoulder feel? Like, get back up in there and, like, reset yourself. That way you're not rolling your ankle. That way you're not snapping your wrist. That way you're not, it's like that split second where you can get back and just center yourself.
Okay, valid points there, young person. But why the hell is we 1 year in and we doing death matches and shit, huh?
Oh, I'm not. I'm not. I've done hardcore matches,
Okay,
a
okay,
few hardcore matches, but I personally have chosen not to do deathmatch until I've gotten enough experience under my belt
okay.
where I am completely comfortable in the ring because I feel that deathmatch is an advanced form of wrestling,
Oh
and
boy.
it is, right?
Mhm.
Because like you said earlier, you take a power bomb, you give a power bomb, a lot of mechanics to it. You wanna do that on glass, you wanna put someone through tubes, you've got all that mechanics plus all of this mechanics over here on how the
Sharp
glass is gonna
mechanics.
exactly. That's why it's an advanced form in my opinion. So yeah, it takes a little bit more experience to do full on deathmatch, and I'm happy to wait. Keep everyone safe at the end of the day. That's my mission. So
Yeah, that's some scary stuff. I've watched it and it's just I've seen it live and I just like I don't understand, but hey,
different
you do what you
types.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they take all the little skewers and they bop them in the head or whatever,
Yeah.
like my acupuncture. But
Yeah, see? You do acupuncture, take some skewers to the head, it's fine.
nah, that's okay. Um,
Uh,
out of all the things that you've been going over and watching and whatnot, what has because we just getting into 2023, so I mean, I guess
mhm.
of 2022, I guess what has been your match of the year or your performer of the year or anything like that?
Well, on this is gonna sound really silly. On the major promotions, my
Mhm.
favorite match of 2022 was at WrestleMania, and it was it was the match with Sami Zayn and the guys
Yes.
from Jackass.
Yeah, oh, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I loved that match so mu and again, we were talking about scoop slams earlier, when Wee Man scoop slams I
Oh yeah,
lost it, I lost it. Um,
that's a
that was
good
my
pick.
favorite major match. As far as on the indie scene, I think my favorite match and you're probably not gonna like this because it was a death match, but it was on ICW, I think it was, in LA, and it was
Mhm.
Eric Ryan and Homeless Jimmy, and they had, like, a shopping cart, type thing because that's Homeless Jimmy's gimmick was the shopping cart in the match. That was an incredible match. If you wanna watch someone really skilled at selling and just really nice form and technique, Eric Ryan is, he should be talked about more.
Taking
He's
notes.
very good. He's very good. Yeah, so Eric Ryan and Homeless Jimmy is probably my favorite indies match of 2022.
Noted. I will keep that in mind or whatnot because I'm
Mm,
always looking for something different to watch or whatever. Because like, man, uh, opening my eyes to something that's not the mainstream like the WWE and all that other crap was
mhm,
like a breath of fresh air. I saw like my first legit indie show back in 2014, I believe.
mhm.
And it was like Jordan Grace, like super
Yeah,
young, I think like 18
she's
years
awesome.
old or something. I was like, "What?" I said, she got something. I like her. And then here she is today, freaking
Yep.
former women's champion. Now, spoilers for people who didn't watch the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. So, but yeah, it's just I like that shit now. Ever since that, because like I seen her like in the beginning, and to
Mhm.
see where she is now, I just like I like that shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, they just at the end of the day, people are they're allowed to be more creative and be themselves and really be able to embody their character and what they're doing because they're the ones that came up with it. You know, you don't have a billion-dollar corporation telling you, "All right, you need to do this, this, this. You're signing this name over to us. Like, you can't do this, this, this on TV." You know,
Mhm.
like they just have freedom. They have freedom to be creative. Like that's what got them to the point that they're at anyways. That's the silly thing I think with WWE nowadays for me. Like and being an Attitude Era kid, like, yeah, they had more freedom, they could get more crazy and rowdy and
Mhm.
loudmouth and all that stuff, but even before, you know, they had a little bit more flexibility, and nowadays, you get these amazing up and coming, like, workers, right? They get heat, boom, 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 they get there, they get signed to WWE, and WWE is like, "Alright, so we're gonna call you this. You're gonna
Here we
wear
go.
this. You're gonna look like this. Da-da-da-da." It's like you're taking away all the things that got them to you. That doesn't make sense. Like,
Mhm.
and you got all these like, God, so many workers where it's just like, enough with the
Yeah.
gimmicks. It's not working. Let them go. Let them run free. Like, let them go because it's just God, how many times can you repackage something and you're still not getting it? Like you're still
Mhm.
just not connecting with what they're doing. So,
So
yeah.
I go through this ordeal once weekly on RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk, the other podcast that I do. I mean, despite all the wrestling talk that we've done here today, this is not a wrestling podcast, but it's me with those same ideals for the most part, kind of preaching to my co-hosts who kind of they like all that shit that you just said, kind of like
Oh, well, good. Hey,
disparaging it.
guys.
Yeah. But it's just like I've seen people before they got to the E or a major company or whatever do all this amazing stuff, and I tout them. I'd be like, "Hey, you need to look at this person. You need to look at this person." And
Mhm.
then when they get there in front of their eyes, because that's the only thing that they watch, and they do shitty, or as a
Mhm.
departure from what I told them, it's like it's making me look like a liar. And I was like, "But please believe me, they can do better than this."
I
you know.
know. That is the struggle.
I was like,
Yeah.
man, but I know NXT has gone through a whole metamorphosis and a change or whatever,
Mhm.
but like my one bright spot and my guilty pleasure over there is Grayson Waller. I like that dude.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Grayson Waller. Waller is baller, baby, and I hope he win the damn title for born ass Braun Breaker or whatever, who
Right.
started out really well, but just kind of fell off a motherfucking cliff. I don't know what
You know,
happened.
I think that says something to the workers that, you know, that are in the development programs like NXT and stuff, but also that are on like already signed to like the major like prime time slots. If they are able to shine despite being like that's how it is now. Whereas before it's like you're shining because you're on WWF, you're on WCW, like you're on
Hmm.
now it's like you're shining despite the fact that you're on WWE. You know, despite all these restrictions and all these things that they put in place where it's harder to be creative. If you can shine through that, I mean, probably gonna get a greatest of all time sticker on your, you know, history book
Hmm.
right there because it's more difficult to do, I'd say now than ever.
Word. I mean, just chatting with you and everything and just hearing your views and thoughts about professional wrestling or whatever. I mean, I can feel your passion and everything because you've only been doing it for a year. You've been training for a short time, but you've been speaking with the wisdom of a veteran that's been doing this for like 10, 20 years and shit. So I mean, kudos
Well,
to
I'm
you.
glad I fooled you. No, I'm just kidding.
Surprise.
Thank
but
you. I appreciate it.
but outside of professional wrestling or whatever, I mean, you got the music thing and everything. I mean, rewind it back a little bit. How does a young lady
Mhm.
as nice looking and attractive as you want to get into something as ugly as professional wrestling?
Um,
Because, like, I mean, it's just like I look at it like I watch UFC and all these other things like that, combat sports and shit, where people are getting paid to punch each other in the goddamn face. And wrestling is along those lines. I was like, you don't have to do this, right? So why
No,
you
I
letting your
don't
face
have
get
to do
beat up,
it.
you know?
Um, I just think certain people are called to certain things, and we all have places in this world, and we all have purpose, and I do it because I love it. I really do. There's just
Good.
something magical about getting in the squared circle, having all those people, those, those fans, the little kids cheering for you or booing
Mhm.
for you. You inspire them to feel something outside of their day, outside of their regular, like 24/7, 9 to 5 jobs or whatever, And there's something really special about that. There really is.
Word.
Wrestling, when you boil it down, it's just magic. And I love magic. Look at me. I love it. So, yeah, I don't know. Some people are just built for it, I guess. And I just love doing it. The face and
Word.
all that, that's just a side that just happened. That was kinda out of my control.
Yeah, I just get what I'm getting, you
Calvin,
know,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Word, word, word. So, I mean, that being said, being a attractive young lady and everything, and in being in this professional line of work that you do or whatnot, I mean, do you feel like any being pressured or anything to like, I don't know, to prove people wrong or whatever? It's like, I'm not just a pretty, short
Oh, yeah,
young girl or whatever.
absolutely.
Just like, hey, I'm here. I can fuck you up.
120,000,000,000%. Absolutely, especially here in the South where things are a little bit slower as far as
Yeehaw.
progress
I
goes.
know.
You know, um, when I first started training, people would compare me to Alexa Bliss, Sable, Trish
Mhm.
Stratus, and I got so fed up one day at practice, I turned around and I said, "Look, I may look like Sable, but inside, I've got the heart of China, okay? So that's who I wanna be. I wanna be able to wrestle anyone that I want to. I don't care about
Mhm,
their gender, I don't care about their size. I want to get skilled at this. Like, I don't wanna
mhm.
and that's the thing in the beginning, everyone would be like, "Oh, you're gonna go so far. You've got a look. Like, you've got such a look. Like, look, 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 look." And by the end of it, people are like, "You're mean." Like, "You're mean in the ring." I was like, "You damn right I'm mean in the ring. Like, we're fighting. Like, what you expect? A little handstand, a little flip? No, I'm gonna take you down. Like, we're in here to
Word.
fight, not look all pretty and like prance around." Some people are, and that's cool. And like, there's a lot of grace. Like, you can get people like Toyota, like Japanese wrestling, and she is an incredibly
Oh, yeah.
athletic, agility, beautiful, gorgeous. That's ama like, I respect that. I'm more of like a Kira Hokuto, where I'm gonna go in there and, like, mess or Aja Kong. I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna start hitting people. So, to each their own. That's a great thing about wrestling too, is it's so broad that
Mhm.
everyone that has that passion for it can find their place in it. Whether
Yeah.
it's in the ring or outside, managing, announcing, refereeing, whatever, like, there's a place for everyone that has that passion for it. Interviewing, like, doing podcasts for it, boom, right there.
Word. And then you don't feel like anybody been, treating you a certain way because of, your stature or whatnot. Cause like I know personally, like right now as we speak, what's that? I think they up in New York or somewhere in that area. Battle Club Pro Wrestling. Uh there's a young lady there by the name of Cosmic. She just won one of their championships there.
Uh-huh,
I trained with her
uh-huh.
when I freaking when I started training and whatnot. And I remember the first day she walked in there, and I was just like, oh, it's like because I've been wrestling with guys, big burly men, slamming me all over the place and throwing me all over the place. And this, dainty young lady came up in there, and I'm just like, you want me to do what with her?
Yeah.
you know? And we got into the lockups and everything, and I can remember this vividly. She was like, fucking fight me, damn it. And I was like, oh
Yep.
shit, you know, it's
That's my
like,
girl. I don't even know her, but that's my girl.
it was
Yes,
just like it was
I
a
had the
surreal
same
experience because I
I
was
had
just
the same
like,
experience. Yeah, I
mhm,
mean, working with my guys because I was basically the only female there, working with big dudes, like, we get in the ring and we'd be practicing like chops. We'd be
mhm.
practicing chops. And then they'd be
How
like,
do
"All
you
right."
practice a chop? Tell me that.
Well, there's technique to it, right? Because you don't wanna break your hand, and you wanna make sure you're hitting the person in the right spot, and,
Mhm.
there are different ways to chop too. You can do it, flat on and go across, that some of the old school guys like to do more of a cup, so you get that air pocket in
Yeah,
there, and there's differences for everything, but
alright, I stand corrected.
I let me tell you something. But yeah, and, I remember the first time we did that, and the guys were like, "Well, I don't wanna do that with her. I wanna chop her." It's like, "Why? Why don't you wanna chop?" "Well, I don't wanna touch her there." I'm like, "First of all, you ain't touching me anywhere. We're
Yeah, it's
chopping.
chess.
It's
There's a whole
different."
chess
I
right
get
here.
and then they're like, "I don't wanna hurt her." I'm like, "You either chop me or I'm gonna chop the shit out of you." And I would
Mhm.
too. Like, if they wanted to keep up with that, I would go in there and chop the crap out of them to the point where they got so mad they forgot I was a woman. They got in there and they started chopping.
Yeah,
Sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes you gotta get them angry where they forget, because
yeah,
at the end of the day, like, there may be different size differences that you have to accommodate for as far as your technique goes, but
mhm,
we're all wrestlers when we get inside that ring.
true.
Like, all of that other stuff goes out the window. We're in there to do our job, to not die, to
Yeah,
entertain these people, and that's it. So, gender and all that stuff, and, "Oh, I don't want it," and, "Oh, can she do this? Can she do" like, "I'm in here,
mhm,
aren't I? Let's do it." Like, so
yeah,
I applaud Cosmic or, whatever the worker's name was that you were referencing just a few minutes
yeah,
ago, because yes, you either hit the shit out of me or Imma hit the shit out of you, and if you don't hit me hard enough, I will definitely hit the shit out of you.
yeah. Yeah, and it's good to see her, like, pretty much from starting out to, like, now she's a motherfucking champion and shit,
That's
you know?
great.
Just
Yeah. Champ.
alright, alright. Well, shit, I mean, as soon as you got on or whatever, we just got to talking and everything and whatnot, and we've come to the end of the road and whatnot.
Great.
Let everybody know who you are and where they can find you on social media.
Sure. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. My name's Angel Metro. I'm a professional wrestler. That's who you've been listening to for the last hour. So if you're still here, thanks for listening.
Now
You
she's
can
just a
find
librarian. We was just talking about wrestling.
yeah, some just some person he found like off the street, asked if I want to talk for an hour. No, but you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's all under Angel Metro. YouTube as well under Angel Metro. You can find my match schedule. You can find my merch, all of that at angel-metro.com. I'm pretty
Word.
accessible, so yeah, just type me into Google or whatever social media platform you use, and I'll pop up.
Yeah. Young Metro don't touch you, she gonna shoot you. Word.
Yeah.
Word. And as it is for every guest of the Random Rounds with Rob, you're freaking welcome to come back anytime to
Thank you.
promote your next big thing or just to shoot the shit.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.
Word.